And at long last, we round out I was going to say week, but it's not going to have been a week. We round out the trifecta of my recent Metal Cardbot acquisitions with Metal Cardbot Savannard. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'm probably going to go with Savannard just because I think it rolls off the tongue a little bit easier, but I feel like it's meant to be Savannah because we'll get into it. But this guy I had mixed feelings about, but I did want to get him because he does kind of work with, we'll see it when we get there, but he does kind of work with Tacky and Bloodwing. Not in like a combination sort of way, but they do all kind of go together. You know, I wanted to get him for that. Plus, I think this robot mode just looks really freaking cool. I am a simple creature. Give me a big, cool-looking robot, and I am happy. That said, the main reason why I had reservations about getting this guy initially was because of the card gimmick. And I will get into this once we actually get into this. But his card gimmick is something that in photos and videos doesn't really do him any favors. Also, we're once again back in the realm of you've got to be kidding me with the size of the card gimmick. But we will look at this more in a bit. Once again, as with Bloodwing, it doesn't add anything to his height, so we're going to be doing like size comparisons and stuff first, or last rather. But like, yeah, the base robot for Savannard looks really, really cool. I wouldn't say he's on par with Heavy Iron W per se, but this looks like a really cool robot. And there are little details in his design that I think are really interesting that I'll get to in a minute. But like, just as a basic robot, the proportions, the styling and everything just looks super rad. And he's surprisingly clean, all things considered. They even painted this section on his back for some reason, and that's just his back. Like, that's... why did they bother? But I appreciate that they did. But yeah, this guy's really neat. And I actually really dig his transformation. I think his alt mode is cool. It's just the card gimmick, really. Color-wise, looks really good. There's a lot of nice breakup here. I dig the gray and black and red with a little bit of white, a little bit of yellow. Like, okay, Savannard, his gimmick is related to animal stuff. There's a zebra, a giraffe, and an elephant. And we'll get into that more in like the card mode thing again. But like, you know, animals in the savannimals, if you will. I get that, and I get the reasoning behind a lot of this stuff, but I think a couple of details that are actually really cool about this is like you've got these molded details in like the kneecaps that could be maybe the zebra or maybe like a different animal from the savannah. His waist piece, I didn't even clock this until I started filming, but like this is absolutely an elephant head, and these are like the ears. The hip skirts are just the ears, but like you can see like the tusks and the somewhat unfortunately placed trunk. But like this is a really cool design. And he's also got some molded detailing on these flaps on the side, which by the way, they are painted too, which is cool. I like that they went all out and giving that detail there. But like he's got these almost like relief sculptures of different animal designs in, at least I think those are supposed to be animals. They're very abstracted, at least from, like, I'm having trouble parsing what this is supposed to be. But I appreciate that that's there. I think that's really cool. And again, there's like lots of really nice molded detail on this guy. I love the proportions. I love the colors and all that. And the color breakup. Super, super cool. And he's just big, bulky, and meaty. But still a little bit slender too. Like not as chunktastic as Heavy Iron W. The head is also, it's like Metal Cardbot simple in terms of the face, because it's just faceplate with eyes, though I do like the molding in the faceplate there, but like this, the helmet sculpt is really cool. I feel like they tried to incorporate different animal designs in it, because you've got this like jaw piece that looks like it's got like a few different kind of designs to it with like not just the colors but like the shapes of like the yellow bit and the red bit and the gray bit all look like they're probably supposed to evoke different animals. You got feathers for the back ears here, which don't really apply to any of the animals that the card covers, but that's still cool. And yeah, it's really neat, and I like the colors that they went with here. I mean, it's carrying over the red, the yellow, the gray, the white, and the black, but like I like that they did the darker gray for the faceplate too, and the blue eyes are nice. Yeah, it's a really cool head sculpt. And the articulation is also pretty darn good. The head is on a ball joint, so you get some side to side, you get some up and down, and of course it rotates. The shoulders do a surprising amount, actually. They can rotate all the way around, but there's like a dual ratchet hinge here, so you can use this joint to go out, but then you can use a secondary joint as well, so like the arms can go out a pretty decent ways. You can also, what I like to do is angle them slightly, because I think that just makes things more dynamic. These flaps can rotate. They can't like move up and down unless you like unclip them, but they're not designed to be held in that position, so it's just rotation, but still. The biceps rotate, and they have soft detents. The elbows, get this out of the way so you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. The elbows bend to just under 90, but you do actually have a second elbow joint, so you can curl the arm in quite a bit. And in addition to all of that, you may have noticed there's actually a second rotation, it's behind this flap here, but there's this other joint here. This is for transformation. The arm's supposed to go like this, but you actually get like an extra click going back if you want. And even with this flap down, you can bring the arm forward a click if you wanted to do that, which is actually how I've got the arms positioned. I do like one click there, and angle it down. I just think that looks very cool and dynamic. But yeah, that's lots of posability there. You also have rotating fists, which fist rotation is a little bit hindered by the big missile pod on his forearms, but these can also rotate. It's like you can rotate them around if you want. You can rotate them, you can keep them facing forward. You can do this if you really want, but like if you rotate them around, you get a pretty decent amount of that fist rotation without things knocking into other things. And I think that's more than enough. But yeah, you got options. You do also get a waist rotation, a nice clicky waist rotation. There are hip skirts that can go out on all sides so that the hips can go forward. If we get the knee bent, can go forward pretty much to 90. Just got to get that knee flap around the hip skirt flap. Can go back to 90. Can go out to almost 90. I'm not entirely sure if it's stopping on its own or if I think it's just hitting. I don't want to push it, but like that flap is not going to go out any further. So some nice outward motion. Clicky thigh rotation that, because of the way it's shaped, this can bump into this. So you have to bring the leg out if you really want to do like that. I don't know why you would, but nice clicky rotation there. And as you saw, he does have knees. The way the knee works is like a regular knee, but it bends to slightly under 90 degrees. Which, you know, given the size of this guy and also given everything that happens with the transformation, which we will get into, I think the fact that the knees bend almost to 90 is pretty miraculous. For the feet, you do not get any ankle tilt, unfortunately, though the feet are molded in an A stance. Though, weirdly, you get a dedicated forward toe click. This is not for transformation, it just does this. So you could have him like stepping forward if you wanted to do that. You could also use this joint as well as like for a toe if you wanted to, and I think you could probably, yeah, you could use both in conjunction if you really wanted to do that. I don't think it looks particularly good, and I can't think of why his foot would be like that in a pose, but yeah, it's you got some options. Now, unfortunately, it is time to talk about the card accessory, and it's really not that bad, but it we'll get there. Okay, so as per usual, image on the front, no name, molded in gray this time. There is a specific way it has to go on, because you may notice these pegs are smaller than these pegs, but you can't screw it up because it's left and right rather than up and down. And yeah, so that's that, and it shows him in his 3 different configurations, because yes, there are 3 different configurations you can do, or 3 different by the book configurations anyway. You could probably fan mode some stuff too, but 3 different configurations out of this. I'll put the card off to the side and start taking all of this apart, because there is a lot. There's this big chunk, there's this less big chunk, and then once we pop off the different helmets, there's this even less big chunk. This separates, this unfolds, and this will unfold too. But first off, as we're dealing with all of this junk down here, we are going to do this in the order that I see all the videos do it in, because why not? Or at least what we're going to do is we're going to go in ascending order. So we're going to start with the zebra, then the giraffe, then the elephant. But first thing we're going to do is these will just go off to the side for now. They do have a place to go in robot mode, but I want to do this first. This will go, it's a helmet, so it'll go on his head. These pieces, what we want to do is you want to take this gray bit and fold it out, and both sides fold out to the sides like this. And now figuring out how to peg these things in is actually really easy. I'm really impressed with how they did this, because even without instructions, just going off of memory, you kind of can't screw up how to put everything together, because it all goes together really well. Even like putting stuff back into the card mode was surprisingly simple to figure out. But anyway, these bits peg into the sides, but you'll notice one has 2 pegs, one has 1 peg. So clearly you put the 1 peg in the 1 peg hole, and then the 2 pegs in the 2 peg hole, and that's it. You've made the weapon, and the weapon is a bow. And we'll put that in his hand in a sec. But before we do that, we need to do the other stuff. So we'll bring this up, bring him in a bit, because now we're going to take the helmets, and there are these 2 pegs on either side of the helmet that will go into these peg holes on the shoulder. And heck if I know what the correct order is to, like what the correct place to peg these in is, but I'm just doing it this way. The helmet will go on his head, but we'll do that in a minute. The bow will go on his hand, we'll do that in a minute. But first we've got to do this thing, which I may not have even had on camera. You want to untab and swing down these flaps, and that's kind of it. Like, you could bring these out if you want to, but I think they're supposed to stay in. These just fold down, and then there are these little pegs, or little peg holes on either side here, that these little pegs on his chest, the little ones will go over, and then there are these tabs up here that will go into these little headlight holes there. So just plug this in, tab that in, and now, yeah, you're already seeing the problem, I think. The helmet, it just kind of slides back onto his noggin, and it will peg in. There we go. And the bow goes into his fist. And as I said, I am not a big fan of his card gimmick. However, I do, like, I've softened on it a bit. I still don't think this looks good in particular. Like, I don't like the zebra configuration, and let's bring this up so you can actually see his face. And like, this does come up, like, if you're looking at him straight on, it still actually covers up his face a little bit, which is annoying. But like, I can appreciate the modularity of everything. I just don't think this mode in particular is great. And also, like, look at how far that sticks off his chest. That's kind of amazing in not the best way. Now, next thing to do is pop this out, and we'll change this up in a minute, and pop this off, and we'll change this up in a minute, and pop the helmet off. And actually, while we're doing this, we should look at the stuff a little bit closer. So the helmet, I like the sculpting on the helmet. I think it's fine. I even think when you just have the helmet on, this isn't a terrible look for him. It makes the head look a little bit bigger, but I don't mind this. And it looks suitably zebra-ish, not just because it's black and white, but the molding, you kind of got the mane up here and kind of what looks a little bit like a horse face in the crest up here. That's kind of a neat idea. It's just, this thing is such an eyesore. Anyway, we're going to do the giraffe next. So we'll just swap the helmet position, and the giraffe helmet, again, clearly supposed to be a giraffe, and I think the sculpting and the design is nice, and when you put it on his head, it's maybe not the strongest of the three helmets, but it's fine. It's not, I don't find this insulting, it's just, I don't think it works on its own as well as the zebra head does. And now for this thing, we're going to tuck this back in. Going to pop this red bit, which can be a little tricky to do. Sometimes it's easier to just pop this out, which gives you a little bit more leverage to get this. So fold that out, take the zebra thing, which actually I neglected to look at when we were doing the that portion of it, but the molding here is solid. The paint detailing is nice. I like the stripes and the red eyes, and you've got this very identifiable horse face kind of in there. And you even got the detailing on the sides here. It's just, as an accessory, it's just kind of awkward. But this swings, or if we're looking at it like this folds out, this swings down, and then you want to take this piece, and it's on a double hinge. So basically I'm pushing here to push this out, to unclick it. And then this will come out and rotate, and then kind of click back in place. And that is a giraffe head. And it's clearly a giraffe. You got the spots, even though the spots are white, but I feel like if this was all yellow, it'd probably be a little too busy. And this, now, there's the small and big peg holes that will go over these small and big pegs on both sides of the chest, and then this this red tab here goes over the front of the chest, and there's a little nub in here that it kind of clips over, so that helps to keep things nice and secure. So this will not come off if you don't want it to. And that's his giraffe poncho. And then for the weapon, I'm going to pop these off, close this back up, and then there are two peg holes on the top of this piece. Let's just peg that in there. I believe this goes to the back. I could be wrong, but I'm putting it towards the back. And now this will peg into the hand, and then this piece just pegs into the other side of the hand. And that gives him a pole arm or something. And that's, the weapon's pretty decent. I think this looks better than the zebra because it doesn't stick out as far and it doesn't come up over his face to the absurd degree that the zebra did. But it's still, I'm still not a huge fan of how this card gimmick goes. But again, I really like the modularity, and I appreciate the fact that the chest armor, poncho, whatever, can be adjusted in it transforms. It's kind of impressive that it does that, but yeah. Anyway, last one, going to take this apart, and now going to pop this out. And what happens here is there's a little slot on the back here that this tab will go into, and then this tab here will go into a slot up here. So you just line that up, clip that together. Now this piece, it goes upside down, and there are these two smaller tabs here that will go into these peg holes, and there's this kind of slot here that the bigger tab will go into. And that all pegs together to make battle axe, which is actually kind of neat. I like the I like the battle axe. I think it's a cool accessory. The giraffe helmet comes off, as you'd expect. And the final one, as you would also expect, because we mentioned it briefly already, is the elephant. And the elephant helmet, it's clearly an elephant. It's actually got like the most paint out of everything. It's got the red in addition to, like, they didn't just do black. It was the gray with the red for the eyes and like the head crest, and then silver for the tusks. So they kind of went all out with this one. This helmet, I think, might be my least favorite of the three as far as helmets go, but hey, it's not, you know, it doesn't ruin the figure. It's just a little bit kind of silly looking on his head. And now for this piece, you want to pop this out, flip this back, because I believe the giraffe is technically the last one, but I'm saving the elephant for last. So it flips around, clips back into place, and it sticks out slightly because I tried keeping it in this position, but like the way the giraffe bit sticks out, it actually keeps it from pegging in quite right. So you do want to push this out, and it will click and lock into place, sticking out slightly. I want to fold down the tusks, and then take these flaps and bring them out. And I've seen like them like this in some of the artwork, but like I prefer to have them kind of flared back slightly. And this reattaches the exact same way as the giraffe. I probably could have done this without taking the piece off, but it's just easier. And here is the elephant configuration. And funny thing is, like, as much as I was like about this guy's card accessories, in person, this isn't that bad. It is still awkward and kind of silly looking, and it does stick out a bit. Nowhere near as much as the zebra one, but like it's a little bit silly. And I think the core robot still looks way cooler without all this junk on him. But I think this isn't that bad. I think of the three different configurations, this is probably my favorite. And you know, it's a toy. I could easily just fan mode it. I can give him the elephant chest piece with like the zebra helmet if I wanted to do that, and like give him a different weapon. I could mix things up. So you got options. But I'm not super into the giant bulky poncho look, but this is what they designed him with. Size-wise, though, he is definitely the biggest of the three metal cardbots we've looked at recently. He's not gigantic, but he is big. He is tall. He is bulky. He's especially bulky if you put the thing on him. But yeah, he's a pretty sizable dude. And we'll just bring Airhide back in here so you can see that he is a bit taller, like almost a head taller than Airhide. So he's on the slightly bigger side for metal cardbot stuff. And compared to his wave buddies, Bloodwing and Tacky, he is, quite a bit bigger. He's almost like Ultra Magnus sized compared to them. Okay, before we do the transformation, now that he's been decluttered, I want to show you all how to put the card back together. And it is actually very simple. I was genuinely impressed with how it all just kind of, if you look at like the tabs and slots and stuff like that, it helps you just by looking at it. So what you want to do is tab the blade pieces together, and it all just lines up perfectly so that they go together like this. You kind of can't screw this up because they just go together symmetrically like this. The configuration for the helmets, I'm pretty sure the way it's supposed to go is zebra, giraffe, and then elephant, because that seems to be the way that they most comfortably fit all together. I could be wrong, but this, again, seems to be the way that they work best. So that's how I've got them pegged together. For the axe bow staff thing, that you just want to fold this bit down, and there are 3 pegs on one side, and it's just the one side that has the 3 pegs. So there are 3 pegs here, here, and here, and kind of like a triangle pattern, And there are 3 peg holes on the zebra side, here, here, and here, in kind of a triangle pattern. So you just line up those pegs and peg all of this together. And that's how that goes. And then for this, there are slots here and like a little groove here. There are tabs here and like some little notches here. And you just plug that in. It's kind of the only way it can go. And you also want to have this bit pointed up because that bar has to go past it and it's not going to fit the other way. So yeah, there's only really, aside from the helmets, there's only one way for this clump to get put together. And I really appreciate the fact that you kind of can't screw it up. Kind of wish more stuff was like that, honestly. Anyway, now we transform Savannard, and just going to straighten out everything. Straighten out the legs, straighten out the arms, straighten out his noodle. Okay, and we're going to start with the upper body. And this is the thing, like I always forget how to do this, but essentially when you rotate these, you want to rotate them so that they're pointed back. You want this part that juts out, you want it jutting out over what is obviously the front of the vehicle. Because every time I transform this guy, I was always doing it the wrong way because I would always forget and always think they had to go this way, and that is not the way they go. So go that way. Fold up these flaps. You want to rotate the missile pods 180 degrees. Now you want to rotate the fists so that the palms are facing up. Rotate the biceps so that the missile pod sections are now facing forward. And then bring these up on this hinge so that basically the missile pods end up forming like the sides of the obvious truck. With that done, these now rotate 180 degrees, and these will double hinge in, and basically they just go around the head. It's like just the right shape and size to go right around the shape of the head. You don't put the head away, it just stays out like that. And you just want to hinge them in, and they peg together and clip together up here, and then make sure that this is all squished down and flush with the rest of the truck stuff. Now, going to... actually, we'll do the legs next. So we're going to bring the legs in and peg everything together. Take the toe bit, not this click, but you want to do this, and flatten out the feet. Bring the heels in, and they'll actually tuck inside of the foot now. Going to untab these because otherwise they'll get in the way. And now the entire backs of the calves, like the leg splits in half basically, and the backs of the calves come apart and fold down and clip together. These can come up the rest of the way. The hip skirts, the gray bits actually untab and fold around, and there's a little peg hole here that goes over a little peg on the knee. And I think this is just to hold the legs straight. But this folds around and pegs in there. Now, going to flare out the wheels and the torso. I love when robots do that. Love the torso wheels. And then this assembly will untab and kind of back crunch around, and these missile pod bits will clip into these bits here. And also this clip on the small of the back will clip into this little thing up there. So that comes down, these come down, and there we go. You don't have to do this until last, but I'm doing it now. You want to take these bits on the side here, and they swing down. You can tell because of like where the where this little opening is, but this swings down and around. And on this side, swings down and around to the front. And now we can open up all of this. So these panels pop open. And then these panels unclip and unfold. And now to put all of this together, I think the easiest way to do it, honestly, is to bring these flaps up first, and these openings here will tab over these tabs in the center of the the flaps, but these nestle in it. Whoop! These nestle in here. Nestle in here. Ow. And you want these black pieces down at kind of like an angle. And that's how it all lines up. And now these pieces will come around, and these tab in going this way. So you do have to kind of flex things around, but you don't really, because if you notice, you don't really have to do much to get it to go around that tab. And then you just kind of push it in and bring it in until it clicks. You could, if you want, kind of flex this out of the way to go past that tab going this way. And that does work. But I find you don't have to actually like flex anything really if you take the long way around, basically. Because there's like it's inconsequential how much this has to move to get around this one for the higher ones. So like, yeah, that's what I recommend. Do all of that, and that's it. There is Savannard in his car carrier mode. And yeah, the comment I made about him being like Ultra Magnus was on purpose, because he basically turns into a vehicle mode that is very reminiscent of Ultra Magnus. He is designed as a car carrier, and this is a pretty cool vehicle mode. It's you've got the fists sticking out of the back if you know what you're looking for, but they cover it up pretty well with all of this stuff. Just certain angles you can kind of see it, but like, I like this. I really like how so much of the trailer section is like his legs just unfolded in half, and the panels hanging off of his shoulders unfurl to make all of the ramp section back here, and that's also really cool. Like, it works surprisingly well. They even painted a bunch of detail in here. You can see they did like this silver in here, but then this black detail in here is painted. They painted the black detail all in here. It wasn't just these flaps that you saw on the outside of the robot mode. They did all this inner stuff too that you only see in the vehicle mode. That's really neat. So yeah, it's cool. I like how he transforms, and I like that he becomes a car carrier. It's very, very neat. And he does roll pretty darn well too. He even has little wheels on his knees that you don't even notice are there, because they're like the same color as the rest of the black plastic, and they just kind of look like molded detail. But yeah, he's got little rolly wheels in the center there to make sure nothing scrapes, and just keeps the center kind of supported. So even if weight's like being pressed down on this, it doesn't interrupt anything. That's really cool foresight. This is a really smartly designed figure, and like this coupled with the fact that the basic robot without all the card junk on it looked really cool is why I really wanted to get this guy, because I really like that transformation, and I like that he turns into a thing that can ferry the other vehicles from this particular wave around. That's super cool. As you might expect, considering how much expansion is going on here and the fact that he was also a pretty big robot in his own right, he is a fair bit larger when you factor in the trailer portion than Tobot v Wild Chief. But this is the real like meat and potatoes side of it that I wanted to get Savannard for, because one, he works really well with Bloodwing and Tacky, but also he does the car carrier thing, as you would expect. I believe the cop car is supposed to go down here, but I don't have the cop car and probably won't get it, even though the combined mode with the fire truck looks really cool. But it does the functional thing. You can like pop these out, and if you want, you can bring them down, you can leave them up. I'll just bring them down temporarily, I guess, but again, you don't have to do that. But you untab these, bring these down, fold these down, and you can also kind of bring these up slightly if you want to like adjust the angles to have that be a little bit more natural, I guess. I don't know. But like, you can bring the ramp down, and then you just can drive the car up, and yeah, it gets caught a little bit, but like, they're toys, they always do. Like, yeah, you can drive Bloodwing up there, raise the flaps again, clip everything back together, or you can leave these down, and now you can have Tacky drive in there, because Tacky does fit. So now Savannard can ferry them both around. You can have Bloodwing up here, you can kind of do this if you want, and he doesn't roll around quite as much. You can have him back here. He does, he can roll around a bit if you do that, but you've got options, and I just think that's really cool. And also you don't have to do the rolling thing if you don't want to. And I think the configuration that is intended is to have Tacky, Bloodwing, and then whatever the cop is down here. But like I said, I don't have the cop and don't necessarily think I'm going to get the cop, but I really like this. I really like that this works. Bloodwing isn't going to fit down there. There's no room. He's too tall. So he has to go on top. But I really, really dig this aspect of Savannard's vehicle mode. It's cool that he's kind of designed to do this, but unlike a lot of Korean robot toys that I've seen that have the carrier aspect, the trailer that's made to hold the other vehicles is actually part of the robot mode. It's not like some parts for me piece or some big accessory thing that turns into a base and you have to keep off to the side. This is his whole robot mode, is this able to carry the other two or three. He's a neat figure in his own right. I wish they had done a little bit more with, maybe not more, but I wish the card thing wasn't as awkward. More than anything, it just comes back to that poncho look. I'm not really into the poncho look. It doesn't ruin the figure for me, as I said. I wish there was some way that they could have done it that wasn't quite as chunky and didn't quite disrupt the really cool and dynamic and kind of hot robot silhouette that they've got going on. It just seems like a missed opportunity. But then, it's a children's toy, so I'm sure there are reasons they decided to do it that way. But Savannard is just really cool. I like his transformation a lot. And again, as I've said, I really like how the entire trailer is his legs, and it comes together surprisingly well. I feel like unless you knew, this doesn't really look too bulky. It's his calves are a little bulky, but this is kind of normal for robot toys like this, so I don't think it's so out of left field that you would expect him to turn into an entire vehicle carrier. And that's just really cool. He handles his transformation and kibble extremely well. And as is the case most of the time with these kinds of figures, the transformation is, as you can clearly see, pretty fast, pretty intuitive. There we go. And you're left with a really neat looking robot. Really neat looking robot that has a slightly unfortunate gimmick. But as I've said multiple times, the card gimmick doesn't ruin it for me. He's still really cool, but look at this guy. He is so cool without the poncho. I think his chest design, his entire upper torso design, I think is cool enough that covering it up is kind of a shame. Especially given how much love and detail went into his pants. But it's just, I got him for this, not for this. This is probably going to sit on my card shelf, because I actually have a small shelf where I have the metal Cardbot stuff, where I just have the cards, and in a couple of cases, the card gimmicks. Just have them sitting there. This is probably going to sit on the shelf next to Heavy Iron W's card gimmick, because I just don't like that thing either. It kind of takes away from the base robot. And that's kind of what I feel with this. Even though in person, at least the elephant one isn't as bad, I really don't like what this big chunk adds to the zebra mode in particular. But this is good enough for me. Maybe I can, pop this off and make use of the weapon without the poncho. I don't know. Point is, Savannard is a very cool robot. and I think he's a really good fit with Bloodwing and Tacky. And I'm really glad I got these 3 robots. I really wish I could get more. There are so many Korean figures that I missed out on in the past couple of years, and some that I used to have and sold off that I wish I could get again. And it's just, importing is so much more expensive now. But little by little, you know. For now, that's all I got. So thank you everybody for watching. Let me know what you think of Savannard, whether it's with or without this. And, you know, the whole Metal Cardbot wave that he's a part of with Tacky and Bloodwing, you know, go nuts. Let me know what you think. Whatever your thoughts, feel free to chime in down below. I always enjoy hearing from you all. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you in whatever that next video ends up being.